In 1964, Ford built a station wagon with in-dash navigation, adaptive headlights, daytime running lights, a windshield that dimmed at the touch of a button, rear seat entertainment screens, and a steering yoke instead of a wheel. Every single one of those features is on cars being sold right now in 2026. Ford had them all in one wagon 60 years ago. Then the company looked at its own creation, decided the world wasn't ready, and let it disappear. Almost nobody remembers it. But that forgotten wagon predicted the next 60 years of the automobile. This is the story of the Ford Aurora. To understand why Ford built a car this far ahead of its time, you have to understand where Ford stood in the early 1960s. The station wagon was the king of American family transportation. This was the era before the SUV, before the minivan, before the crossover. If you had a family and a suburban driveway, you had a wagon. They hauled the kids to school, the groceries home, and the whole family to the lake on weekends. It was the single most important body style in the American market. And Ford, the company that had practically invented the modern wagon, was getting crushed. By the early 60s, Ford's wagon sales had slipped to a distant third behind General Motors and Chrysler. Even the tiny, cash-strapped Rambler was poised to overtake them. The problem wasn't that Ford's wagons were bad. They were perfectly competent. They were also painfully dull. Big, boxy, wood-paneled boats that hauled people and luggage with all the imagination of a freight car. They looked more like a train station than a space station, and in an era obsessed with the space race and the gleaming promise of tomorrow, competent and boring wasn't going to win anyone back. So Ford did something most companies would never dare. Instead of building a slightly better wagon, they tried to build the wagon of the future. And they didn't mean next year. They meant decades ahead. The company's design team, under styling Vice President Gene Bordnat, was handed a mission unlike anything they'd attempted. Imagine the family car of the year 2000 and build it now. They spent a year and a half on it. And among the young designers contributing ideas in Ford's studio during this era was a man named Sid Mead, who would later leave Ford to design the futures of Blade Runner, Tron, and Aliens, becoming the most influential science fiction concept artist of all time. That tells you everything about the kind of imagination being poured into this project. Ford wasn't styling a car. They were trying to see the future. What they created was the Aurora, and the name wasn't a reference to the Northern Lights. It was a nod to the car's obsession with light itself. The Aurora was filled with what Ford called unusual devices for the production and control of light. And this is where the predictions begin. Instead of two normal sealed beam headlights, the Aurora used a bank of 12 1-inch units that Ford called mini-bank headlamps. They could produce controlled road illumination with countless stages between dim and bright, automatically adjusting the intensity of the light. That's adaptive headlights and automatic high beams, features that wouldn't become common on luxury cars until the 2000s. The Aurora also ran its lights during the day for visibility, essentially inventing daytime running lights decades before they became standard or even legally required in many countries. Then there was the glass. The Aurora's sunroof used polarizing technology that let the driver shift the glass from fully transparent to completely opaque at the touch of a button. No shade, no cover. The glass itself darkened on command. That exact technology, electrochromic dimming glass, is now a premium feature on cars from Mercedes, Cadillac, and others, charging customers thousands of dollars for something Ford demonstrated in 1964. Electroluminescent panels also glowed softly along the body sides, giving the wagon an otherworldly halo at night, the same kind of ambient and accent lighting that fills modern car interiors today. But the headlights and the glass were just the warm-up. The real predictions were inside. The Aurora had no steering wheel. In its place, Ford installed a powered steering bar, an aircraft-style yoke that needed just a half turn from lock to lock, thanks to a variable ratio steering system. If that sounds familiar, it's because it's the exact same idea that Tesla and other electric car makers are fighting about right now. The yoke steering wheel that made headlines as a radical, controversial innovation a couple of years ago, Ford put one in a station wagon in 1964, and variable ratio steering, which adjusts how much the wheels turn based on speed, is now standard on countless modern cars. Mounted in the dashboard was an analog navigation system, a rolling paper map that scrolled to show the car's position as it traveled. It was crude and mechanical, but the concept was unmistakable. A navigation display built into the dash that told you where you were and where you were going. In-dash GPS navigation wouldn't reach a production Ford for nearly 30 years. The Aurora was pointing directly at it in 1964. The cabin itself predicted the way we think about car interiors today. Ford split it into 3 zones: a driver's command post, a central lounge, and a children's area in the back that Ford openly called the romper room. The front passenger seat was mounted on a pedestal and could swivel a full 180 degrees to face a curved sofa in the second row. Reconfigurable, swiveling lounge-style seating is now a centerpiece of nearly every electric vehicle concept, and several production minivans and luxury cars, all of them promising that in the autonomous future, your car will feel like a living room. Ford built that living room 60 years early. For the kids in the back, Ford installed a communications console that operated a television set, rear seat entertainment, the exact feature that would keep children quiet in minivans 40 years later. There was an intercom, so the driver could talk to the rear, the ancestor of the cabin talk systems in today's family SUVs. And if the kids got too loud, the driver could raise a power-operated soundproof glass partition to seal them off entirely. Ford even built in a thermoelectric oven refrigerator and a cooled beverage cabinet. And while your car today might not have a double oven, cooled center consoles and refrigerated compartments are now genuine options on luxury vehicles. In total, Ford packed 23 distinct, never-before-seen features into the Aurora. It was, in the company's own words, a rolling laboratory of new ideas, and nearly every one of those ideas eventually came true. So what happened to it? Why isn't the Aurora a household name, celebrated as the car that saw the future? The answer is brutal timing. Ford chose to debut the Aurora at the 1964 New York World's Fair, a global stage watched by millions. It should have been the company's moment to prove it was the most forward-thinking automaker in the world. But Ford had scheduled another debut at that very same World's Fair. A brash young executive named Lee Iacocca walked onto a stage, pulled the cover off a sleek, affordable sporty coupe, and declared the dawn of a new era. That car was the Ford Mustang. It sold 1 million units in under 2 years and became one of the most beloved cars in history. The Aurora never stood a chance. The most visionary vehicle Ford had ever built was buried by a coupe from its own company, unveiled in the same place at the same time. The press swarmed the Mustang. The Aurora sat in the corner, glowing its electroluminescent glow, quietly being ignored. The future had just been upstaged by the present. It was so far ahead of its time that the Aurora reportedly caught the attention of the producers of Stanley Kubrick's 2001 A Space Odyssey, who considered it for the film. But even that didn't save it. The Aurora was a one-off, a single hand-built dream car, never meant for production. Once its show career ended, it met the same fate as most of Ford's 1960s concept cars. It was almost certainly scrapped. The car that predicted the next 60 years of the automobile was likely crushed into a cube and hauled away. But the ideas survived. That's the strange magic of the Ford Aurora. The car itself failed and vanished, but look at what was inside it in 1964, and then look at your driveway today. Adaptive headlights, daytime running lights, dimming glass, ambient interior lighting, in-dash navigation, yoke steering, variable ratio steering, swiveling lounge seats, rear seat screens, cabin intercoms, cooled consoles. Every single one of those, dismissed as a gimmick on a wagon nobody paid attention to, is now sitting in cars that real people drive. The Aurora's wraparound lounge even foreshadowed the minivan, which wouldn't arrive for another 2 decades. Ford had a window into the future in 1964. They built it, displayed it, let it get overshadowed by a pony car, and then threw it away. It would take the rest of the industry 60 years to catch up to a station wagon that almost no one remembers. Let me know in the comments which Aurora feature surprises you the most that Ford had it figured out in 1964. For me, it's the yoke steering wheel. We acted like that was a brand new idea 3 years ago, and Ford beat everyone to it by 6 decades. But thank you all for watching. Please make sure to like, share, and subscribe. It really helps me out. Until next time, enthusiasts.